all, I have spoken to a few CSs and said that the president's voice needs to be heard on this. I'm proud that our party leader, Raila Odinga, did speak to it almost 2 weeks ago. So we need the president to speak to it. We need the president to understand that the families of these women who have been brutally murdered have got so much trauma, and they need. We've also made sure that there are budgets in place, right? But then there's an even bigger problem, our societal ills that we need to address through civic education. We also were thinking of maybe having a special code for femicide and also having a special legislation just to address femicide. Because as much as many women suffer, and children and mentally challenged suffer from domestic violence and sexual gender-based violence, the one that really pains everyone is when they see the brutal murders. And what we've witnessed this year has been the worst of the worst. You know, I mean, we've seen a girl butchered because the family couldn't afford ransom. We've seen girls being lured, right, thinking that they're going for a romantic evening, and then they end up with their deaths. So we need to educate our women so that they are better able to protect themselves. But my position is, as a member of parliament and also as a member of KEWOPA, which is the women organization for legislators in parliament, my take is that we need to make sure that the issues, the causes of sexual gender-based violence, which is unemployment, which is mental health, which is stress, which is, have to be addressed. And at the same time, if perpetrators are arrested almost instantly and charged, I'm very happy that the guy who, the DCI have actually said that they want to hold the suspect longer. This offense, when evidence is glaring, should not be bailable, all right? And maybe we should also think of returning the death sentence, because people feel that they can get away with it and end up in prison, and it's not a big price to pay. So there are many things that we have to look at as legislators. Of course, it requires public participation, but for me, sexual gender-based offenses should not be bailable. And this is because they're bailable because of us trying to conform to human rights standards all over the world. We need to make our own standards. We also need to guard social media. I have seen on TikTok between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. the things that are going on TikTok is not what we want for our children. We say we should not have pornography. It is illegal in Kenya, and yet our children are exposed to pornography on TikTok daily. So we need to make sure that as a country we make certain drastic actions to make sure that we can keep our population in check. But I also say that no woman should die, and majority of the cases that we are seeing are actually domestic. It's a husband or a known person killing a woman. So this, again, we can legislate, but what happens in the domestic houses? We need to tell women that when the situation at home becomes dire, you need to get out to protect yourself. You shouldn't end up being a statistic. So all in all, I think as a government, right, we are touched by all the deaths that have happened, and as we're here with two legislators, all right, that have joined the walk today. We've got Catherine Muma, we've got Amina here, so they will also add the voice of Parliament and the Senate.
Just a quick one.
Yes.
As KEWOPA and as women leaders, maybe have you reached out to the president, because we have seen he's not spoken about this matter? Have you petitioned him to speak about it?
Well, I mean, first of all, I have spoken to a few CSs and said that the president's voice needs to be heard on this. I'm proud that our party leader, Raila Odinga, did speak to it almost 2 weeks ago. So we need the president to speak to it. We need the president to understand that the families of these women who have been brutally murdered have got so much trauma, and they need to feel that the state is acting on their behalf, and the president has understood the pain that the families and the women and every woman here from the civil society and the citizens of Kenya who are here, they are all pained by what we've seen. You've got to be totally inhuman not to feel the pain of these girls being killed so brutally.